You're listening to Redvolution Rampage in quarantine.
No.
Darn you, COVID-19.
What day of the week?
No one knows. Don't worry about it. Everyone's at home. No one knows what day of the week it is. Gyms are all closed. Everything is closed. We're in a worldwide pandemic. That means please stay at home. And for the love of whatever you believe in, wash your hands.
You know, I'm actually starting to feel the same thing that Bill Murray was in, or was when he was in Groundhog's Day. It's the same thing every day for me. Anybody else get that feeling?
I mean, even he changed it up in the movie. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm crying for you right now.
You hear that? It's the world's smallest violin. All right.
It's kind of ringing in my ears, but it's cool.
But anyways, so the season is on hiatus. There's no hockey going on right now, because we were too late in trying to control this thing. I'm not gonna get political, but it's not looking good, and God knows when we can actually get back to business. I'm just gonna say it's not going to be Easter.
Well, let's put it this way. When we do go back to hockey, there will be no AHL, no ECHL, no FHL, no
SBHL is gone too. Nothing.
No every league is basically now done.
Right, and that kind of makes sense. All those leagues are hoping to restart come regular time to start again next season. So
did the AHL cancel the season? I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. Yep. That means the Checkers are going to remain Calder Cup champions.
Silver lining.
Yeah, silver lining.
Hey, so if there's silver lining in this, that means we can go for a three-peat next year, right? And do what the Penguins never did.
I don't think that counts as a three-peat. That just like the lockout season doesn't count.
Yeah. So I think we'll go straight to playoffs.
For the NHL, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of projections out there, right? Right now, the league refuses to acknowledge that next season might be affected. Right now, they have no plans on next season being affected. So I don't know how they're planning on both continuing this season, at least in the playoff format, and also keeping next season intact. If you look at the player, what the players want to do, if you look at that, you'll notice they want to start a training camp in July, and then not actually go back into the regular season late July, finish out the season, and then do the playoffs August through September, and then hold off season in all of October before moving into next season starting November. I'm talking about training camp for next season, all the new contracts, trades, free agent signings, everything happening in October, and then training camp starts early November, and then really kick off the season probably in December, unless they really kind of close out how they want to do preseason. That's an interesting prospect, but right now the NHL does not want to go that route. They don't want to hurt next season. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I don't see pushing back next season being a good thing. I think they just need to go straight into playoffs, go ahead and knock that out. I don't know, maybe
who makes the playoffs then? Who makes it, who doesn't?
So I was actually thinking about this today on my little walk. Why not do kind of like the 4 bubble teams? Us, Columbus, I think the Rangers, and was it Florida?
Islanders.
Oh, the Islanders. Have those 4 teams have a 1-game do-or-die situation.
Okay, that's not good for Carolina. That's not good for Carolina because we'll pull the Rangers. The team we have not beat in the regular season. This is not a good scenario.
What if we did like a
doesn't
3 out of
matter.
5?
It's a one game series. You might as well be playing a regular season game. It doesn't have a playoff flavor unless you're playing a series. An actual series, at least best out of 3. But there's no time for that. There talks about a 2014 playoff with shortened series up until the Stanley Cup Finals. That's another option. But
that's what I was thinking.
Could we do bubble teams? Because Florida says, hey, we're a bubble team. We can take over Toronto. So why wouldn't Florida be part of a bubble team? What about teams?
See, here's my thing with this whole situation. What I personally believe is this. So the current standings from there, you take whoever's played the most amount of games and say you get 5 games. Whatever to that point is. Let's say right now the person who has the most games has played 62 games. You say, okay, 67.
I mean, we can pull it up. I can tell you now who's
every
got
team has
the
to
most
play
games.
267. And then you start playoffs. So that could mean you play 5 regular season games. That could mean you play 8 or 7 or whatever. You just have to get to that point, and that's where playoffs start. So you get like a 5 to 8 game bubble of regular season games, and then you start.
But at that point, you still need a continuation of the season. There needs to be arena adjustments, right? Who's going to play where? Who's going to be the home team? Who's going to be the away team? Because right now, the team with the most games is going to be, and I'll pull it up here in a second. No one has more than 71 games in the Eastern Conference, and that's the Canadiens, the Senators, the Red Wings. They all have 71 games. And then, 71 games. There's about 4 teams in the Western, 5 teams in the West. The Blues, the Jets, the Knights, the Oilers, and the Ducks. But the problem with trying to bring back all the teams for just, say, 5 games, what are the Red Wings playing for? They've already locked up 31st. What's the even point of bringing those players back? What about the Senators? What about the Devils? What's the point? The Kings, the Ducks, the Sharks, they're not going to make it. What is the point of bringing any of these teams back?
So why not just keep the basically what we would call the Sweet 16? Take all those teams, have them just kind of like play out the rest of the season, but kind of like schedule games against them to base the points off to build where they go into the playoff tree. Instead of bringing back all the teams that maybe could have made the playoffs or don't even need to be in the actual playoff tree.
All right, but here's another question. So, but you get teams who haven't played them yet, or teams who haven't played all their games against them, and say, "Hey, I want those easy points. I want to play the Red Wings to get those easy points." Or the Hurricanes, who might say, "Hey, I actually want to play the Penguins 3 times so I can overtake them." Who will dictate the rest of the opponents, right? Because if the Hurricanes get to match the Penguins again, and then hey, I could take 3rd place. Or if other teams are like, well, I want the easy points against the Red Wings, I want my easy points against the Devils. The Hurricanes still have 2 games left against the Sabres. That could be easy points for them. Another game against the Devils, another set of easy points. And then you've got games against the Islanders and games against Blue Jackets and games against the Penguins. What if we want to play those games to ensure our playoff positioning? Who dictates who plays who at the end of the season if you're still going to hold a shortened version of the season? No, because the Hurricanes only have a single game against a Western Conference team. Now, I can understand knocking out Western Conference games or cross-conference games, be like, well, that's not important. Even if you knock out the cross-divisional games, the Hurricanes still have like 3 games against the Penguins, 2 games against the Blue Jackets, and 2 games against the Islanders. And then a game against the Devils. That's still 8 full games.
But we all know who truly has the power in all this, and eventually who's going to have the final say.
Gary Bettman.
It's Gary Bettman. And
at the end of the day, though,
a lot of fans aren't going to be happy about it because of things that he's done in the past and his reputation when it comes to these kind of things. Like, we all got to remember I believe it was the 2012-2013 season that was shortened due to a lockout, and the decisions that they made in that season, it was a bit of a cluster, to say the least, with how they handled that. But maybe they use that situation as a bit of a preparation where they go, okay, we tried this, it didn't really work, let's try something else.
But you got to realize that the players have to sign off on this, that the governors all have to sign off on whatever deal. So Gary Bettman doesn't have full power because the lockout could happen if Gary Bettman presents a plan that the players don't want. Because they realize the players, they're looking for their own safety and health. And they want to ensure they're getting enough break time, that they're getting a training camp. They want a training camp. If Bettman wants to launch them straight into the playoffs, they don't want that. They might hold out.
It'll be the first year since, 1918 that the Stanley Cup hasn't been awarded, if that happens?
Yes.
No, the Stanley Cup was not awarded in 05-06. Sorry, 04-05. During the lockout.
So the second time in a century.
Correct. And the first time I was actually watching the history on that the other night. It was due to the World War I, if I am correct. Too many of the men were getting called off to war, and they just had to put a cease to the NHL. A lot of men died during that time too, so they weren't able to finish the season.
And don't forget the Spanish flu also happened during that time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are comparing apples to oranges with our current situation, and they have the right to do so, but we all have to keep on the positive side and go, hey, what if this happens, and what if the social distancing thing works?
You gotta realize that these are scientists and experts who are telling us what to do, and really we should just follow what they have to say, no matter how we personally feel about it. I'm not happy about the season being put on hiatus, or even if the season has to be canceled, it has to be canceled, and we move on. We start fresh next season. If they want to just hand the cup over to the Bruins as the league champions,
God, no,
then do it, but put a freaking asterisk next to their name.
Yeah.
I'd rather give it to
we would never hear the end of it.
What do you mean we'd never hear the end of it? They wouldn't hear the end of it. Oh, do you want a Stanley Cup without winning a single playoff series? Good for you.
Right.
No, they really wouldn't hold it in pride, honestly. And in fact, it might even tarnish their name and carry a curse with it. They'd be the only team to not win a playoff series to earn Lord Stanley's mug.
Hey,
I don't think they would do that, though. I really don't think they would just go, here you go.
Why don't we just give it to Tampa Bay? I mean, they're one of the best participating trophy winners in the NHL right now. I mean,
you joke about that, but right now Tampa Bay has the most goals per game. They're like sixth in goals allowed. So right now, if you're looking at who is actually the best team in the league, it might just be Tampa Bay. But we have playoffs for a reason. We have the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's its own beast. It's its own thing, and we hold it for a reason. And that is the players have earned their status in the regular season. Now it's a new game. It's a new style of play. Can you survive this as well?
Lest we forget the wild card madness that happened last year.
Exactly. Just because you're built for the regular season doesn't mean you can survive a playoff series.
This is true.
You know, go ahead.
I said we also saw like teams that knocked off that swept one team and then got swept by the next team.
Yeah.
Carolina Hurricanes were one of those teams. The Islanders were one of those teams. Columbus swept Tampa, but couldn't get past Boston. Yeah, sure, it took them more than 4 games, but that's how the cookie crumbles.
You know,
and then you have
Oh, go ahead, Amanda.
then you have the team that was at the bottom end up winning. So that
Right. The Blues weren't that great in the regular season in the first half, but you got to realize that the Blues were always slated to be a good team. They just underperformed, and then they went back to performing well enough to make the playoffs. But they've always been a good team, and that's what the playoffs are for. Sometimes the regular season teams underperform. Tampa right now underperformed heavily in the early season. Boston didn't. So Boston did not get to sleep. But hey, perhaps Boston underperforms for the rest of the regular season in an alternate timeline without coronavirus, and Tampa overtakes them for number one spot, or Washington does, or the Blues do. We'll never know.
So regardless of what they actually come up with, whether they continue to the rest of the season or they move straight into playoffs, depending on how they do it, I think I can answer this question for a lot of us, and we just want hockey back. We want something, not just hockey, but all sports. I think if we get... What's that?
Oh, come on, Amanda. Have some diversity.
Nah.
I just think that if we have something that comes out of the darkness right now and starts playing live sports on TV, regardless of what it is, minus golf. And
hey, darts are still on TV.
Hey, you know,
oh my God, ESPN
Bowling.
the Ocho is bae.
But, you know, it's
Marble racing.
Have you guys been checking out the Sims games, the Hurricanes Sims games?
Yeah.
We're undefeated in those. We're undefeated in those. 4-0-0. I'm just saying.
And
I have a
surges.
theory.
I mean, what was the last score, like 10 to
Well, they beat the
5?
No, they beat the Penguins earlier today, 7-5.
That was the closest game. I mean, other than I think the Blues, we beat the Blues.
The Blues was a close one. The Blues, they had to come back in the third.
Every other game after that, though, it was like 10-3, 10-1, or something like that.
Yeah, well, it was like 10-8 against the Islanders. It was something. It was nonsense.
Hey, it's fun to watch.
They're fun to watch, and then but you got to realize there's no dead puck time in the video game. It's like, and the officiating in video games is perfect. There's no blown calls in video games.
Right.
Did you not see my picture today? I got so bored I was yelling at myself. I mean,
you penalize yourself, and you should do it more often.
But here's my theory with this whole video game thing. I think it's not a sim. I think it's a player playing intentionally, and I think it's Ned. I think it's Ned playing the game.
Well, we might. Yeah, well, you know what? I don't think it's Ned. We'll find it. We'll ask him. I think we've got plans to bring in Alex and Delkovich in our next episode, so do not miss that. Speaking of episodes, I wanna address the John Forsland episode. We in fact recorded 2 interviews with John Forsland. The first one we couldn't get it correct. Didn't record any of his audio. The second time we got it all. We got it all the episode, and then for those of us who have ever worked with Audacity and the mishaps that happened on Audacity, I went to save the file to back it up, and that's when it decided to crash. So I lost everything. I lost about an hour and 15 minutes total between recording with everyone here and also a amazing 40-minute interview with John Forsland. We talked everything from his quarantine. By the way, he's out of quarantine now and living life at large as much as he can with social distancing. But we talked about the upcoming outdoor game. He thinks the Penguins are the right opponent for multiple reasons. I know a lot of us are going, boo, we don't want to play the Penguins. He understands that the Penguins do bring their own fan base with them no matter where they go. It's like the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Patriots, and to beat them
not so much anymore.
Well, we'll see. But to beat them at a national stage is something that that the Hurricanes can benefit from extremely. And he talks to this as a NBC broadcaster, as a professional, and not from a fan's perspective. So his perspective might be a little bit less biased. So that was his perspective on that. We've talked about David Ayers and how his story really holds high in regards of all stories, maybe not as much as the playoffs or any team-based achievement, but as a story on its own, it's an incredible achievement that sits well with the great stories and personal achievements of Hurricanes players in the past. Where we also talked a little about Trip Tracy, of course, and the antics, and of course everything you see and hear between those two, either on the radio or on Fox Sports Carolina, is authentic. What you see is what you get. They do not rehearse any of these antics. So we are blessed with two of the greatest broadcasters in sports history, I would say. And so while we've had them, we got to appreciate them. Eventually, down the road, times will change, and we'll get new broadcasters, and new teams will come up. So for right now, let's take a moment to appreciate John Forsland and Trip Tracy and the great crew over at Fox Sports Carolina that make every game worth watching. And for those of you who haven't heard, Fox Sports Carolina is re-airing some of the old games here and then. They did the David Ayers game. They did the season opener against Montreal. So there's a lot of great stuff to watch, rewatch, and sometimes, hey, when you rewatch a game, you pick up stuff you missed the last time. It's like watching tape.
Yeah, they're actually playing the game Capitals against the Capitals right now. They're I think it's the October 5th game. Yeah.
Well, no caps.
So
no.
To piggyback on what you were saying, Omar, Trip and John are kind of like those hockey uncles. You got Trip, who's kind of like that crazy hockey uncle. You never know what he's going to bring to the table. And then you got John that's going to sit there and kind of like give him that backhand every now and then to kind of be like, dude, you know what? Let me take over from here.
So like you and Omar.
Yeah. Come on, guys. I was just going to say that. It's
joy.
Funny that it's funny that you bring that up, Amanda, because I know me and Omar have had our individual conversations, and it's almost like the Don Cherry and Ron McClain too. Like, I'm that vocal, I say stuff to make people mad, and then Omar's there with a backhand to be like, dude, shut the hell up.
I don't backhand that hard, but I gotta bring some sort of professionalism around here.
Yeah, you got me sitting there with a box of popcorn going, yeah, I'm just here to read the comments.
Joy.
Yeah, you guys call me the pod mom, but I think Omar's kind of more the pod dad.
I'm the drunk uncle. I'll accept it. I'm the drunk uncle.
Tell you what, everyone, whenever you hear this episode, just comment below who do you think is the pod mom, the pod dad, and the drunk uncle, and then we'll
I'm the kid.
Vote on it.
Yeah, I'm the kid. I will admit that.
I'm the stressed out drunk mom.
Speaking of stuff that stresses us out, the NHL is the only league that's got prematurely ended its season. The NWHL, Amanda, what happened with the Isabel Cup?
Well, they got down to when they were about to play, and I mean the final, the very last final, and they had to postpone because of the virus. But it's still, it's
going
one
to game.
I don't know. Words escaped me. It's still going to happen.
It's one game. It's one game to finish the series and figure out who gets the Isabel Cup.
Yeah.
So
their whole series is a one and done series.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think that's very fair.
I don't really care for it. I just feel like it's almost a luck situation, and I know they're very, very good teams, so the skill is definitely there. I don't want to offend anybody by saying luck, but I just feel like it isn't fair to their skill set to just do a one and done. I think there needs to be at least 2 out of 3, But
it's 20% luck, 30% skill, 50% concentrated power of will.
And now we're getting copyright striked. Oh God.
But it's down to Minnesota and Boston. So we'll see what happens.
The Minnesota Whitecaps in the Boston Pride.
Boston.
I've never watched a single female hockey game, and I was actually looking forward to the
Shame.
one of the instilled.
Shame on you.
I know. I'll slap myself since we can't slap each other.
Yes.
But I was actually looking forward to watching it at Instilled Distillery. But I'm going to pull from Minnesota because I cannot cheer for any Boston team whatsoever. I'm sorry.
Ditto.
Now,
even though friend of the pod, Alyssa was a former Boston Pride player. Shame.
Isabel Cup winner with the Boston Pride. So you may have to reevaluate there, that Jeff.
You might have to check your biases at the door.
No, I'm still Minnesota.
I'm saying this is a New Yorker.
Now I admit the Boston Pride is the only Boston team that I could definitely root for. But yeah, that's who I'm rooting for right there.
If Montreal.
But I was saying with the series, it's hard to do because of the locations of the teams and the fact that these women aren't, full-time players. They're, they have to have other jobs, and they have to rearrange their situations and in order to play these games. So, for a New York or let's say Boston team to play in Minnesota, a 3-game series, they'd have to take time off from work. They'd have to travel. There's all of that kind of thing. So it makes it difficult for the women's team to do a series. So that may be why they don't do it. But
yeah, there's a logistics part to it. And then hopefully while the NWHL gets more and more popular, more people start listening and watching and going to games, and the league can add more revenue, the teams can add more revenue. These women can actually start getting paid to play instead of being paid to just show up.
Yeah, they're racking up the sponsors, so it's moving in the right direction.
Also, just saying, you could all watch all their games on Twitch.
Yes.
Right now, it is free to watch. And that might not be the case forever because these women are hella talented. And you gotta understand, if everyone listening, you gotta understand, NWHL and women's hockey, in any form or fashion, moves at a different speed than men's hockey. These women play faster with more skill. I get it. It's got less violence, and we'll leave that for the men. But it still has its own version of hard hits, and it's got its own version of skill. And you gotta realize it's a league of Connor McDavids playing. Right.
Yeah.
It's a lot of talent and a lot of skill. Women's hockey, a women hockey player being a tough enforcer isn't going to cut it in that league because they'll just skate around her like a damn traffic cone on the ice. Those leagues, you got to play a little faster. You got to play a little harder. You got to play a little more skilled, more puck control. I mean, look back at the Olympics. Speaking of Olympics, you guys hear that the 2020 Summer Olympics are now the 2021 Summer Olympics?
Yes, I did.
Do you hear the tear going down my eye? No.
No, tears don't make noise.
Oh, tears. Oh, haha. Oh, I was like, what? Oh, speaking of Olympics, I want to say a congratulations to Shannon Zabados, who is expecting, which is very exciting.
A girl, right?
Woo!
Yeah, Shannon Zabados. She was Team Canada.
No,
the kid.
I mean, she's expecting a girl.
Yes, an actual. Yeah, they just revealed that she's having a girl.
So, to piggyback on what you guys were saying about the Olympics, did you also hear that the IIHF 2020 is also put on hold now? They're actually canceling it this year. It was supposed to be played over in, if I'm correct, Belfast. And I'm going to piggyback off of what I was just saying. One of my good buddies that plays in the Elite League and also part of the team GB that was supposed to be playing in the IIHF championship just got awarded Player of the Year by the Elite League. The other I was also going to say a funny thing that came out of all this, though, is the team I used to work for over there, their last game, guy comes out on the ice with a mask on his face, taking shots during warm-up. So, I mean, there's a lot of humor that comes out of this as well, too.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of things coming out of this. Some of it's not all of it's bad. Some of it's good. People are getting rest. Hurricanes will get a couple players back before the season returns. So Dougie Hamilton has been rumored to have supposed to be beginning to skate again with the team around this week. That's a rumor. I cannot confirm nor deny it. But chances are he might actually be, if they're doing what the players want, which is bring back a training camp, we just might see Dougie Hamilton in that training camp evaluating whether or not he's ready to play NHL games again. So that could change everything. Sammy Vatanen is going to also be ready. If this gets pushed and Hurricanes make a deep run into the playoffs, perhaps Brett Pesce might just have recovered well enough. Either way, we'll get Brett Pesce back for the beginning of next season, regardless, it seems, at this point.
So that brings up another thing. What happens to free agency season? What happens to the draft? What happens to all the players that we just picked up, like Vatanen? I know he was going to be a free agent at the end of this year, even though he just came over to the Hurricanes. I mean, what happens to all the stuff that should have been happening?
Everything's gonna get pushed to right, and that's what's gonna happen. Like in the players' proposition, they had the draft and the off-season free agency, all that happening in October. That's their plan. But that hasn't stopped the Hurricanes from actually signing players. Actually, they just signed 2 players today.
The brothers.
David Cotton and Jason Cotton, both the brothers who played in the NCAA. Now, David Cotton is the captain for the Boston Eagles hockey
Boston
team.
College.
Yes, Boston College Eagles, yeah. Boston College Eagles college team captain. And then his older brother, he's older by him by 3 years, but I guess they're just David took a year off here and there before in college. But Jason, his brother, who's 25, so David's 22, Jason's 25. They're both centers, and they're both captains to their team. Jason became captain of the Sacred Heart Pioneers this season. They're both were putting up amazing numbers. Jason's been leading the Pioneers in points, while David's having a career year. Jason, in fact, was a Hobie Baker finalist. So those are both great signings. David was signed for 2 years, two-way deal. David was signed for 2 years on a two-way deal, and then Jason was signed for a single year, but also on a two-way deal, AHL, NHL. So when the season kicks back up in Charlotte, we'll see both the brothers on the ice. It'll be the first time 2 brothers have been on the ice for the Canes in their organization since both Eric and Jordan Stahl. So that'll be interesting to kind of see if the Cotton brothers can make their way up to the Hurricanes. Both of them have a good chance of being that 4C if they can make it through training camp when that does pop back up. But the question becomes, what do you do with the cap space, right? Because now there's 2 more signings. if either of them make up the NHL, that's cap space taken up. If Brett Pesce gets back healthy, remember he's on the LTIR. So if Brett Pesce gets back and being healthy, and they need to activate him, there's no cap space for that. So I would say probably Brett Pesce kind of stays on the LTIR through this season, and then the Hurricanes are probably going to shed some contracts here in the offseason whenever it happens.
Hey,
well, more than likely, Vatanen will be one of them. The question is, who's the other one? The name Brady Shea comes up. Are we going to trade him? Are we going to keep him?
I think we're going to keep Shea. And you got to realize there's other free agents that are just going to fall off. I can't see us keeping Anton Forsberg, for example. He'll fall off. I can't see us keeping. I mean, Justin Williams is his final hurrah, unless he absolutely wants to play a full season and absolutely wants to get his money's worth. So Justin Williams, because he's not going to get a chance to make any of those bonuses that he would get because of this happening right now. Because realize Justin Williams is signing a 35-plus contract where he gets minimum actual salary, and all the rest of his monies are bonuses that can be pushed towards next year's salary cap.
Hey, Omar, after you brought up the Cotton brothers, I brought it up online. So for David Cotton, it says here on Canes on NHL.com, has been signed for a 2-year ELC contract that will pay him $700,000 in 2021
at the NHL level.
Yes, at the NHL. Well, I was getting to that. And $832,500 in the 2021 at the NHL level, and $70,000 at the AHL level in both seasons, and will receive $185,000 signing bonus. Now, Jason, on the other hand, for the 2021 NHL season, that will pay $700,000 and $50,000 at the AHL level with a $25,000 signing bonus, and that's just for the next 2 years.
Right, but Jason's only signed for a single year, and I think the both brothers came as a package deal. Like, hey, you want to sign me? You got to sign my big brother. You got to realize that David is younger. He's 22. He's got a higher potential ceiling than Jason, who's already 25. And at this point, he could be a career AHLer if he can actually hang around the AHL. I could see him being re-signed by the Checkers instead of the Hurricanes after this upcoming season. And both.
Go ahead.
And then, but because Jason's 25, his ELC can only be a year, but because David is still 22, then he gets that 2-year ELC. But they're both actually signed to ELCs, so they can be moved up and down as necessary. So they're waiver exempt.
Yeah. But with everything that's been lost this past season, after the Cup season, I think these two signings and then playing down in the Checkers organization do them a lot of good.
No, absolutely. This is absolutely a move to revamp that Checkers system, which has lost a lot. I mean, if you look back at the trades and everything, because let's talk about trades. We actually haven't recorded. Actually, no, we have recorded. We just haven't published an episode since the trade. So let's talk about trades. We talked about Brady Shea. I've liked what I've seen from Brady Shea. I think a Brady Shea Brett Pesce pairing next season could be incredible. Left hand, right hand D. One is an offensive D, and I'm talking about Shea, and one's a defensive D, which is Pesce, and that could be just a light version of the Dougie Hamilton and Jacob Slavin pairing. And you want to talk about shedding some capital? I'm sorry, but Edmondson. Edmondson, it's cute that you were singing Country Roads on your way up to Canada, and that you challenged Michelle Obama to the push-up challenge, I guess. But It's all cute, but you're gonna have to find a new team next year. Now people will be like, "Whoa, it looks like we lost the Justin Falk trade." No, we didn't lose the Justin Falk trade. Dominic Bach is still an excellent forward who's in the system, and I look forward to see. I could see him coming up to the checkers next year, and being another backstop for them as well. If you look at,
we also have to look at the other defenseman that might be hitting the highway this offseason, which is Trevor Van Riemsdyk.
Yeah, I know a lot of our fans love Trevor Van Riemsdyk. He is an adorable human being. I personally enjoy his presence. But if you're telling me I gotta either keep TVR or trade away Brady Shea, I'm keeping Brady Shea. I'm sorry, I'm TVR. Thank you for your service. Next time we see you in the arena, look up to the scoreboard because there's going to be a great video for you.
I mean, at this point, we need to keep Hayden Fleury in our top 6. He's done too well to keep out of it.
Yeah, but Hayden Fleury is going to be your RFA that you're going to absolutely going to sign. There's 3 RFAs that you're going to have to sign, and that's going to be you got your Hayden Fleury, you've got not Trevor Carrick, Clark Bishop, and someone remind me who the third big name RFA it's going to be. I'll pull it up. Brock McGinn's not going to be an RFA. Warren Fogle. That's who it is. Warren Fogle is going to be your last RFA that you're going to absolutely have to sign. So there's your defensive core. Your defensive core is going to be incredible. If you got Slavin Hamilton, Shea, Pesce, and then you can close it out with Fleury and Gardner. I'm sorry, but you're still looking at one of the best defensive cores in the league. If not the defensive core.
And there's still the people down in Charlotte. I mean,
Jake Bean. I can see Jake Bean coming up and really enforcing that. Maybe Jake Bean comes in for Gardner every once in a while. I know people aren't super happy with Gardner, but Gardner in the last few games, in the last 3 wins, he's been instrumental in that. And actually, he's been instrumental on the power play. Power play Gardner is an incredible human being. Power play Gardner is unstoppable. And I don't know
when he gets
why.
Going.
I mean, he has been getting going. And what's funny is that, you know who's been getting him going? Morgan Geekie. Let's talk about Geekie for a second.
Geekie
right?
Squad.
And before I finish, to everyone listening, there are still plenty of Geeky Squad stickers available on our Patreon for only $5. I will mail it personally to you, and as long as we've got some of those holographic stickers, the next I think are like 25 holographic stickers left. So the next 25 people to buy a Morgan Geeky Squad sticker will also get a Redvolution Rampage holographic sticker that looks incredible. And maybe if you get a Morgan Geeky sticker and you stay a Patreon to us and help support this great podcast who's pushing through everything like quarantine and amazing terribleness. Amazing terribleness. It's not even a thing. You might get
amazing terribleness. That's pretty good.
Right? You might get a Doug Hug sticker next month. That's right. That's
so
right.
Amazing
have
Wouldn't that be an oxymoron kind of sentence? I mean, I could be wrong, but
amazing terribleness is what we're seeing every day in every aspect of our society right now, because people are being amazing through the terribleness.
You know what else is good through this terribleness? Come on, what is it, Amanda?
What is it, Amanda? Please tell us.
Some Instill rum. From our records, there's an Instill.
Unless you don't drink, then we're not forcing you to. But however, if you do like rum and you do enjoy rum drinks, check. And if you're in the Carolina area, let's make that clear, because I'm not sure how far and wide they distribute right now. They could be distributing further in the future, but right now, Instill Distillery rum made here in North Carolina, in Clayton, North Carolina, is available in your ABC stores for a cheap price, and some of them might even come with a roll of toilet paper.
Yes, if you find the right one, he is attaching toilet paper to some of the bottles.
So if you can't find toilet paper in your stores,
they're even making hand sanitizer now, like as a help for their local medical facilities. They're actually taking one of their stills out and making hand sanitizer.
Yes, because hand sanitizer is alcohol, so they're actually distilling hand sanitizer. So support a company that is supporting the hospitals around you and actually doing the right thing as a business instead of just hoarding tons of money and actually supporting the local community. So I support Instill. It's locally owned. And they're actual good people who are out here actually caring about the community that's around them. So help them help others. Buy a bottle of rum instead of Captain Morgan or whatever you want to buy. I would say Instill rum is probably the best. They have white rum and they have a spiced rum, both super smooth and great for your mixed drinks that will get you through this time and help you through the anxiety that we all have.
And they even have curbside pickup right now.
Yeah, ABC.
If you got cheer wine and you pick up some of that spiced rum, I tell you what, you got yourself a great night. Not so sure about the next day, but you got a great night.
I'm not so sure about the next day.
Please.
Oh my God.
Yes.
All right, moving on. So Morgan Geeky has been an incredible addition. I say he stays. You got to realize you got to have it. You have to, especially going into the playoffs. You got to carry extra forwards. You got to carry extra demon. I would like the extra forward to be Morgan Geeky, and then maybe Ryan Zingle kind of flexes in for him, or Jordan Martinook, Lucas Walmark. You got plenty of guys who wait. Lucas
whoa, back up. We traded
Lucas
Walmark
isn't here anymore. Okay, but anyways, you got plenty of guys who move in and out of that lineup to help really build that team up. So it's good news to have guys like Morgan Geeky who can come in and in 2 NHL games have 3 goals, plenty of points, and really make an impression. He's got power play points. He really knows how to find the back of the net. He's a finisher. This is something the Hurricanes have needed for a while, a guy who can finish. He's not there to create chances, he's there to finish them. The Hurricanes are great at creating chances. The entire roster is amazing at it. They're probably one of the best. In fact, no, they are the best team in the league at creating chances. If you look at expected goals, they lead the entire league in expected goals. Just need help finishing, and Morgan Geeky's your guy. Justin Williams is a good finisher. He's getting there in age, so he's not creating as much. But Morgan Geeky playing on the 3rd and 4th lines has been a godsend, really. So, there's a lot to play there. Hopefully when the season returns, Morgan Geeky, who was in fact sent back, him and Anton Forsberg were sent back down to Charlotte on paper. So hopefully they get called back up on paper and join the rest of the team on their training camp. And hopefully the rest of the season. But because the AHL season is completed, that automatically unlocks the rest of the roster, and it so right now the teams are not held to the 24-man rosters, and they're actually allowed to have I think it's up to a 40-man roster now. So there's no reason not to carry Geeky on the team right now.
Out of the 2 games that he played, he has single-handedly had a better plus-minus record in just 2 games than the whole entire Detroit Red Wings players, the whole entire season. In just 2
games.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Wow.
You're talking about
out of nowhere.
Look. I've said this before, and I said this again. There's a lot of towns out there that deserve a hockey team, like Seattle, Atlanta, and Detroit. Anyways,
hey, did we talk about some good news?
Hit me with the good news.
Good news, everyone!
Oh,
the PNC workers are getting paid.
That's right, and a lot of it comes from Tom Dundon himself. So the players, the foundation, and the man, the myth, the legend, Tom Dundon are all actually chipping in to pay. It took a while for an agreement to happen, but apparently, from sources that I have, is that Tom Dundon just said, "Tell me how much," and everyone else scrambled to figure out how much, and that took them a while to come up to him with a number. But yeah, he didn't hesitate to open the checkbook and pay people and ensure everyone gets paid. So that way and that builds loyalty. That builds brand loyalty. It's a smart move business-wise and ethically-wise. You hear that, Boston? You hearing me right now? Okay.
What about Buffalo?
I thought Boston was the last team that hadn't figured something out because Brad Marchand's out here sharing a GoFundMe.
Yeah, but Buffalo struggles to keep a winning streak. So, I mean, why don't we work on their winning streak first before we start paying other players?
Shots fired.
Hold on. People still deserve to get paid regardless of how the team is going because they're not on the ice. They're in the concessions.
I know. I'm just throwing it out there.
As a person who used to work at PNC Arena, who was in this in the capacity of helping the team on and off the ice, I was so worried for these people when the shutdown was announced, and I have friends who are still there that work for the team and do things like operations, concessions, things behind the scenes with the team. I was so relieved when I heard that they were going to get paid just because I knew that they had at least some financial stability in all of this.
And you're right to be worried because Tom Dundon is a billionaire with the B, and there are a lot of billionaires out there right now who have disappeared off the face of the earth. Where are you, Jeff Bezos? Where are you, Elon Musk? Okay, but I digress. But there's a social contract with billionaires, right? We allow them to get rich because we're expecting them to support the society that helped them become wealthy in times of need. Now is a time of need. Guys like Tom Dundon have stepped up. They've stepped up in the community that's helped them, right? Everyone that plays a part in the Hurricanes organization from the top down, it plays a part in its success. Whether or not it plays a part in all the people, the attendance rising, all of that. So, hey, you got to play your part, and he's played his part. Now, looking at the other teams, players are paying out of their pocket, which is, they're millionaires, so yeah, I expect them to pay as well. So that's the social bearing here.
You know what else I want to compliment on him is his swagger. He's got such great swagger. Not only a great bank account and a great personality, but his swagger. It's like,
hey! Don't be hating on the tracksuit swagger.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm appreciating it more than anything because he's rich. He knows he's rich, but he doesn't show like some do. He's almost like down to earth. Like
he drives a minivan. Y'all know this, right? He drives a minivan.
Right. He's not.
He is a dad.
Person. Yeah. He's
fancy. You ever seen Stahl drive out of the players' parking? He's got a dad mobile.
Yeah, Stahl is the biggest dad on the team, other than Justin Williams. Yeah. All right, I think we're getting close to the end of this incredible episode. Am I missing anything?
Thanking people.
What was that?
Oh, that was that was me opening the bottle of Instill rum.
Perfect timing.
I got busted. This is the first time I've talked to some really good people in a long time. I've actually got to talk hockey since last week with people. This right here is what the world needs to do. They need to find their happiness right now. They need to find something that brings the me out of them, if that makes sense.
It does. And this is the time right now. The world's in chaos. This is the time right now to stop being concerned with the bottom line and start being concerned with your neighbors. Check, not physically, don't physically be there, but check up on the people around you. Call them, talk to people, see if they need anything, support each other. If you got elderly neighbors and they can't go out, go get them groceries. Go support people the best you can. Do contactless. Keep that social distancing, people. 6 feet. Stay healthy, y'all. Like, work out.
It doesn't take a second to just check on people. Just send a text and say, hey, how are you doing? Because, they might be sitting there and haven't talked to anybody in days.
Look, global anxiety is through the roof right now. We're not going to sugarcoat this. Everything is not the way it's supposed to be, and we're in the global pandemic. So
Yeah, just remember, everybody, be nice. It'll all be over eventually.
Eventually is the correct word.
Well, just to piggyback you, Omar, I know I'm not a professional. I know I'm not a what do you call it?
We've established this.
Yeah, but you know what? That I'm not a professional, or I'm not a something. But
you're a crazy uncle. That's what you are.
Yes, I am. But I'm getting out. Even in my complex, we have like a lap around a little lake. I'm getting out and I'm doing about 8 laps a day. I'm creating little videos of just things or just ways to work out. So, I mean, if people want to follow me, feel free. Hit me up on the social media, and I'll try to help you out as best as I can from the stuff that I'm doing. And if
Speaking of social media, guys, stay healthy. Use social media to spread around all the push-ups and sit-ups and flying burpee challenges that my wife is doing that I'm not. But
she's trying to be more buff than you.
Attempts are made.
There's only so many markers to smell, Omar.
My God.
Anyways, what I'm trying to say is follow us on social media as well. At Redvolution R on Twitter, at Redvolution Rampage on Instagram, Facebook.com/Redvolution Rampage. We even have a Patreon for you to check out, Patreon.com/Redvolution R. There's a lot of great things there. T-shirts, stickers, coasters, you name it. We'll send it. Mail it right to you. Contactless delivery through a mailman who will stuff it in your mailbox for you. It's magic, people. But geeky stickers are available. Holographic stickers are available. And soon enough, Doug Hug stickers will be available. And we will make new designs come the month of May. And there's going to be a lot of things you guys are going to enjoy there as well. This has been Redvolution Rampage with your host, Omar.
Zach.
Amanda.
And Jeff.
All right.
And